Hey guys, in this video we're going to do a great comparison between the old QX80, the 2024, and the new QX80. Now Infiniti flew me out here to test drive this, but we're going to compare it to that because, well, I love doing old versus new videos. And if you're wondering why there's a bicycle in my shot, well, that's actually a very interesting story. So if you head on over to our podcast this weekend, TFL Car Chat, I will let you know why that's here. But you're not here to learn about the bicycle, you're here to learn about the differences between the old and the new. And there are major differences, including what's under the hood, but more importantly in price. And at the end of the video, I will tell you how much this one cost versus this one. And believe me, this new autobiography is breathtakingly expensive. So if you want to guess now. So let's start where we always start, and that is with styling. Nathan used to call the old QX80, because it's been around a while, a happy hippo. You kind of see the eyes, you kind of see those little pointy ears. He wasn't wrong. The new one, of course, has changed dramatically. Now, instead of being roly-poly, the new one is sleek, and dare I say it, sexy. It's also an inch bigger, a little bit wider, and a little bit taller, as most new cars are. So if you're jonesing for more room, well, this one has it. Infiniti says it's got some of the best in class room. But you know what? Let me show you the biggest difference between the two of these, and that is what's under the hood. Now, if you're a fan of the old Titan, you'll probably know what's under the hood, because this is the old Powertrain, and of course these are both still body-on-frame old school SUVs, so you'll know what's under there versus what's under there. And while I open up this guy, I'll let you guess at what is under the new hood of the 2025 vehicle. Of course, under the old vehicle, or in the old vehicle, is a venerable V8. This one is the same one that would have been in the Titan, and under the new model is, can you guess? Ford did it about 10 years ago. Yep, check it out. Yep, it's a twin turbo V6. And interestingly, when I told Andre I was coming out here to, test drive these two, he said, this would have been the Powertrain, and I think he's right, that would have been in the new Titan if in fact they had continued with the Titan. But anyway, here you're looking at 450 horsepower, 516 pound-foot of torque, made it to a new 9-speed automatic, which, get this, is over 100 pound-foot of torque more than the V8 and 50 horsepower more. So not only do you get more power and torque with the twin turbo V6, but you also get better fuel economy. Infiniti says 13% better. So I believe in the four-wheel drive, and there are several models, it starts with a rear-wheel drive, but I believe in the four-wheel drive combined, the new car is 19 mpg. Let me know in the comments below, do you like the new direction of the way they went with styling? I also have to point out the fact that, of course, like any new car, they have pop-out handles. Tesla started that. Well, actually, Tesla didn't start that. There were other companies that started it, but Tesla popularized it. So now all new vehicles have to have, it's a law, pop-out handles, because I'm thinking of the bike, pop-out handles because, of course, they make the vehicle more aerodynamic. Now, I do like these lights. It does have the more modern light signature where you've got the bar that comes all the way across. I think we're rolling on 22s, which of course is also nice. And if you guys know about Infiniti, or if you've owned one, you know that Infiniti is Nissan's luxury brand. It is what Lexus is to Toyota, Infiniti is to Nissan. So I have to say, looking at the two cars, the new one is much nicer. Dare I say, even sexy. Now, let's go inside and see what they've done on the interior. In the old one, you've kind of got this, and I'm a sucker for, I'm going to say, coffee interior. Lots of beautiful leather. Feels expensive, looks expensive. Let me crawl in here. We can start it up, and we can kind of show you the controls. So here you have what is now getting pretty antiquated, more or less old school dial that controls what's on the screen. I don't even know if the old one was touchscreen. Oh, it was, so you could do it both. You can either do it with this, or you can use the little rotary knob. Then you had your different modes here, and this one has snow, auto, tall tow haul. Of course, I'm getting really hot in here. My God, it must be like 120 degrees. Relatively big steering wheel, not very fat. Traditional gauges. And then, of course, the small screen with large knobs, which I really like for the temperature, of course, for the volume and for the tuning. You know, good sized cubby here, right there. Look at that, because the new one has a surprise. And then a relatively small traditional sunroof, traditional rearview mirror, and let's see how much room is in the back. I'll jump back there. So second row, and these big SUVs are having kind of a moment in the sun right now. People really like these body-on-frame SUVs because they tow a lot. You've got screens in here. I'm, 6'2", and if I'm sweaty, like I said, it's about 100 degrees, so forgive me. But, plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom, heated seats. In the second row, passengers have a little screen that they can control their HVAC. And then if you want to get in the third row, there are two ways to do it. You can either, pull this, but the more fun way, I think, is right here. Check this out. So I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna see if I can multitask here. So I'm gonna put the camera on the seat, and then I'm gonna push the little button. And there you go. It folds and flips, allowing access to the third row, but there is a pretty high floor back here. And I'm gonna crawl back here to see how I fit. And I do mean crawl because I actually get on my knees to get back here. So definitely a kid-friendly area, not a lot of headroom. I've got the headrest in my back, but you can also fold these third row seats right there. Cup holders, which was nice, but definitely not a huge amount of room, and not captain's chairs in the second row, but traditional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-seater. That's a big car. And then, gotta be honest, I don't remember how much this old one tows, but the new one tows, well, kind of, 8,500. And we'll talk about that in a second, because there is something important that I have to mention that I kind of felt like they missed a big opportunity. And then let's look in the back here. Let's see how much space we have. So, very high lift over. And then back here, you probably have enough room for a backpack or a roller board, suitcase. And then if you want to flip these seats, you can also do it like that. But I got to tell you, you're going to stand here for a while these go down. And then you could do them, two at a time. But it's not exactly, like I said, speedy. And this platform has been around a long time. I'm going to see if the floor is flat. I'm curious. And the answer is yes. So look at that. You got a nice flat floor there, so you could probably actually sleep in the back of this. It's got a lot of room. And that's because, of course, this Infiniti QX80 competes with other body-on-frame cars like the Mercedes. No, actually, it's not a body-on-frame. Competes with other large three-row SUVs like the Mercedes-Benz GLS, the Range Rover now with this one with the new autobiography, the Escalade, the Denali, the Yukon Denali. Everything's gotten so expensive. And I was going to show you kind of this, because I think this is really nice. Let me zoom back out. You can't see it. This little air intake. They've kind of got this chrome that's been really toned down. As you can tell, the old one, a lot of chrome. And I am not a huge fan of chrome. And if you are a huge fan of chrome, I apologize, but chroming stuff is horrible for the environment. So I really love the fact that they're getting away from it in the new car. As you can tell, we've got a heads-up display. Now, the old car started in the mid-70s. This one, if you get the rear-wheel drive, you're looking at just over $82,000. And keep guessing, because at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how much this autobiography top dog QX80 cost. And of course, that's very similar to a Land Rover, Range Rover, where they also have an autobiography version. Oh, another car that competes with is, of course, the Lexus LX. A lot of big three-row SUVs. Now, as we get in to the new one, as you can tell when you start it up, it's significantly different. not only do you have not one, not two, but 3 screens, but everything has gotten much more digital. So digital rear mirror. Oh, stop it. I'm not going to switch drivers. Suppose you got to log into this car as well. Don't you hate that? Like, don't make me log into my own car. Really, I don't need that. But remember I was saying that the old one has Bose? Well, the new one, and they're very proud of this, let me show you right there, Klipsch, which may sound like a German car company, but it's not. It's American. I think it was founded in Arkansas back in the 40s or 50s. And if you can see right there, next to the headrest, you actually have 1,200 watts and 24 speakers in this car. And one of the unique things about the speakers in the headrest is, for instance, if somebody calls you, you can take the call, and because of noise cancellation, you can hear them, but they won't hear the music that's playing in the car. Kind of one of the coolest new features. You know, every car has to have something that's TikTokable, and that is certainly one of the TikTokable things. Now, you're looking at a much bigger, much fatter steering wheel, which I really like. You're looking at haptic controls right there. Not only heated, but as you can tell, cooled seats. And thank God I'm in here because I'm really boiling. Cooled seats in the back. And then remember I showed you in the old model this little cubby here, just like the Land Cruiser and some other vehicles, Range Rover, you now have a little refrigerator that you can keep your adult or kiddie drinks nice and cold. And of course, unlike the old one, look at the size of this bad boy sunroof. I mean, you know, it goes and just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and I'm boiling, so I'm going to close it up again. That way you won't get as much glare on the camera, but yeah, much bigger sunroof. And then some other important factors we should talk about, and that is right there on the screen. As you can tell from the auto, you can see that the new car actually has air suspension. Now, this is only in the upper trim models, but you can raise and lower it and get yourself up to 10 inches of ground clearance if you want to go to your cabin at night. And so that's a nice feature as well, because I like air suspension. It makes for a better ride. And since this car is considerably more expensive than the outgoing model, it's nice that they've actually added air suspension. But like I say, that's only available on upper trim vehicles. But it gives you over 2 inches of up and down, so you can have an entry mode, which I'll show you when I get in the back. So it does lower the car, so if you have to have stuff that comes over like the back of the car in terms of groceries or luggage, it's a lot easier to load up. And then I'm not a big fan of these haptic controls, and as you can see right there, this is Nissan's ProPilot 2.1, which comes with lane centering and hands-free driving on marked highways, so you can, you know, in designated places, keep your hands off the wheel as long as your eyes are on the road. And you know, at some point we will have a full driving review of this, and we'll take it on the highway and see how that actually works. So same kind of very nice, and I would say expensive looking and expensive feeling leather. There's no material here that feels cheap. You know, nothing feels plasticky. Every surface I touch is well manicured, even the steering wheel with these little slots in here. A lot of thought has been given to, you know, the way the car looks. And then if you like haptic controls, you've got full haptic controls, but luckily they kept the volume knob. But everything else is, of course, controlled by touch. I don't like these haptic controls where there's no separate buttons, so sometimes you're not actually sure if you're actually hitting the right button or not because, well, the whole piece of plastic moves. All right, let's jump in the back seat and let's take a look at how much room is back here and compare it to the old car. So one of the things that you'll immediately notice is that there's a screen right there, and then of course you've got a lot more controls back here, 2 USB-C ports, but you've got climate, move my camera, you got seat adjustments, and you got ventilated and heated seats in the second one. I am sitting behind myself, and you know, I do have leg room. In the other one I didn't have the seat as far back, so don't be confused, but a little bit less. Okay, I'm putting my seat all the way down. A little bit less leg room back here, and because of this massive sunroof, I actually have a little bit less headroom. but I certainly don't feel cramped. I mean, you know, these are captain seats, so of course we have a lot more room. And then of course, like I said, you've got a lot more controls for both vented and heated seats, and then you can control your HVAC, and then more clip speakers, one of the many. Did I mention 24? Because they mentioned that quite a bit. So to fold this one, you push this button, and then you just wait. And it does take a little bit longer. Not exactly the most fastest moving thing, but the floor is flat. And let's see if I have more room. Once again, these headrests are down, so they're going to be poking me in the back. But let's see how I do back here. Okay. Yeah, same problem. In fact, I'd say, once again, best for kids. A little bit less room back here. But check this out. Heated seats and, of course, automatic reclining seats in the third row. So a lot more luxury in this new version. So I don't know if I've seen heated seats in the third row, except for some of the Hyundai Kia products. Let me see if I can get out of here without falling on the ground. Here we go. You can do it, Roman. Definitely for kids. Keep in mind I'm 6'2", so I'm a little taller. I think these are 22s. Can you guys tell? 27, 50, yeah, they're 22s. So let's pop the back open here. Push that button. And then, like I was saying, you can actually lower the car. Let me see if you can see it go down. It's probably going down very slowly, or it is down. Because I'm not seeing it, but yeah, there it goes. You can kind of see how much less room there is between the top of the wheel and the wheel. Gives you better entry if you get the air suspension. And you can fold both rows from the back here. So let me fold that row and see if they'll be flat. Same thing, it's about the same speed. Let me fold this row. Come on. I just stopped it. Keep going. What did I do? Here we go. There we go. And for some reason, this one? That comes up. Okay, that's that one. But this guy doesn't want to fold. I don't know why. These are pre-production vehicles, so it could be the reason. And then, unlike the old one, you've got both the close and the lock, which is nice if you're wanting to lock the car from the back of the tailgate. Now, remember I said that the new car tows 8,500, and that they perhaps left some money because they kind of went through the people who are buying this, and of course they're going to be older, my age, sorry. And I'm suspecting a lot of these people during COVID bought toys or bought campers, and now they need trailers. And of course the problem is there's no brake controller. And without a brake controller, in other words, without the ability to, actuate the brakes using the car's brakes or your hand in emergency, or to be able to set the gain, the most you can tow in California is 3,500 pounds. So Infiniti will tell you that there's a module you can buy that you can attach that will add a brake controller to it. But I got a feeling like, if I'm spending, I'm going to give you a hint, over 100,000 on this autobiography, I'm going to want a brake controller so that Airstream that I bought during COVID, because life is short and it's time to go camping, get away from the rest of the people who might have COVID, you're not going to be able to tow with this unless you get a brake controller module or unless you get a remote brake controller like we use, and both of those aren't grand. So I kind of feel like they missed a step there by actually not including it, because a lot of the competing vehicles actually do have brake controller. I'm specifically thinking of like the GM products, and of course the Ford Navigator as well, which also competes with this. All right, now I said I would tell you how much they cost. So remember, mid to high 70s, starts at 83. Drum roll, the new autobiography, right here, right now, $110,000. But for that, look, you get 2 shark fins, not 1. Actually, that one doesn't even, you get 1 there. You see it, just 1. There you get 2. So you do get some value for your money. in shark fins. But yeah, it is a lot of money. And you know, now we're competing definitely in the deep end of luxury. And the question that I've been asking myself, and that I'd love to know your opinion about in the comments is this a $110,000 car? Now the knee-jerk reaction is, no, I remember when 15 years ago you could get this for $50,000. But let's face it, times have changed. I mean, look at the beautiful leather, the beautiful perforated leather, how they've actually designed this interesting diamond pattern into the leather. You know, there's nothing in here that looks cheap or feels cheap. Big steering wheel, giant screen, and a design, you know, that is years, if not decades, probably decades ahead of the old one. Let me give you a quick refresher to show you what that looks like. And a lot of you might be saying, yeah, but man, you know, the old venerable, I believe this is a 5.6 liter V8 that's under the hood, you know, that thing went forever, and turbos are bad, and I want traditional. But you know what? Ford has been doing turbos for 10 years. Now Toyota's doing them, and the old cars, when I was a kid, you know, they would slap turbos on to the engines. In the new vehicles, they're designed with turbocharging in mind, so you have a lot more cooling, a lot more longevity. And perhaps more problematic, at least in my mind, for Infiniti is that, like competitors this car, I'm thinking of the Range Rover, I'm thinking of even the Escalade, are now either hybridized or electrified, and I kind of feel like the world is, you know, at hybridization, and yet here we are with, you know, a traditional, and I mean that with air quotes, twin turbo V6, but much of the world has gone to hybridization. A 19 mpg is good for a big body on frame vehicle, but you could probably do better if you stuck a battery in it. And you know, we know the Japanese know how to do that. Well, anyway, guys, like I said, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and if you're out in the market for the new one, it's going to be at dealerships in July, so any day now. And if you're wondering why this bike is here, head on over to All TFL this weekend, or I will explain it to you in the podcast. Yeah, thanks for joining me. Sorry if I sweated all over this review, but thank you, Infiniti, for flying out here, and thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you next time. Ciao.